Presented by AfterBuzz TV and hosted by Hall of Fame superstar Sean X-Pac Waltman, this is X-Pac 12360. And now your host,
all right, Sean,
WWE
you are going to be live
Hall of Fame superstar Sean
3,
X-Pac
2,
Waltman.
1.
Welcome to X-Pac 12360. Finally back. Yeah, last Tuesday there was a lot going on down in Orlando at the Performance Center, and I could not take the time to call in for the show. Sorry, everyone.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, at least you guys didn't get all the way here and then have me.
I kind of had a feeling. That's why I texted you beforehand. But either way, I mean, major news coming out for NXT, especially the day that you were there as well.
What was that?
They're going to be on the USA Network.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that people might still see NXT as the minor leagues now that they're on USA?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think they're going to see them as different, though, more than anything.
Right.
And I honestly think that this is my prediction. Within 6 months, they're going to beat Raw or SmackDown in the ratings at least once.
Interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think, within my experience,
maybe way sooner than 6 months.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. But it's tough to convince mainstream fans or casual fans that these guys are on the same level when it's easy for them to just say, well, why aren't they on Raw? Why aren't they on SmackDown? So I'm hoping that, this kind of elevates them into, like you said, just being a third brand, having 2 hours of live primetime TV. I'm hoping that convinces people,
Yeah, I really do. Like, I'm not just saying that to try to hype up,
Sure.
the positive attitude or whatever, and just being not just being optimistic. I honestly think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I really do. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. WWE is launching a podcast network. So coming from the podcast aspect, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
They're going to be featuring several series that are focused on WWE superstars, wrestlers, and content. The Bellas podcast is already named one of the podcasts that will be part of this. Do you have any thoughts?
They mentioned it to me a couple months back. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago. That this was going to happen. I was just waiting for the announcement. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner.
Right.
That's all. Now, I did see something where, I don't know, somebody said Conrad said the days of the golden era of wrestling podcasting is over. I don't see how that's true.
Right.
I don't get that.
Yeah,
I feel like no matter what, if anything, it's going to get hotter, I think, especially now with, AEW coming in and sort of adding that aspect of, competition. People are going to be wanting to tune into these podcasts and be like, what are people saying? If anything, I think that it's going to add to the hype and the conversation surrounding pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that people might get wary of is is this going to be, corporate approved podcasting,
That's probably going to be a little bit of that.
Right. And I think it'll still be good. I mean, I think there's still so much content on the network that takes us behind the scenes, without completely wrecking the illusion. But I think that might be what people are kind of worried about. But I think there will be plenty of others even outside of this network, Once again, it'll be good for everyone.
I mean, I'm not sure. I didn't look further into it, in the supposed Conrad's quote about that.
Sure.
But I don't know if he means okay, we're not going to have as many guests on the.
I see.
Available for podcasts that aren't on the WWE Podcast Network, or I don't know. I'm not sure, but.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that affects outside wrestling podcasts.
Yeah,
but maybe it does. I'm not seeing it yet.
All right, so let's go ahead and shift into some AEW news. So All Out is on August 31st, this coming weekend, and we had one of the matches change. Kenny Omega will no longer be facing Jon Moxley because Jon Moxley essentially has MRSA, which is a staph infection in his elbow, and he got that during the G1 and is obviously going to be out and cannot face Kenny Omega, but he now has a replaced opponent, which is Pac.
Hey, so MRSA is way more serious than just regular staph.
real bad.
Yeah, you can die from MRSA. And I've heard, like, I've seen some people with, like, oh, it's not like he has cancer or something. Well, the difference is, like, cancer is not contagious. I mean, well, for the most part, right? Some people think, you know, like, I don't know. Oh, fuck, I'm about ready to get off into the weeds on them. Anyway. Boy, my fucking mind's all over the place today.
So MRSA, why it's so serious?
No, I know. Yeah, that's a big deal, and there's been other cases of this lately, and I'm concerned, like, you know, when you're going around and you're doing shows, like outside shows that maybe aren't, you know, you don't know when you go to a certain promotion, like, are they cleaning the rings, like the canvas? Because a lot of times that doesn't happen, right? And I mean, I'm concerned about, like, this. Thank God they took him out of this and didn't just try to cover it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and just, like, pretend, like, you know, maybe cover his elbow, whatever the fuck. Was his elbow or something?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's the same thing happened with Ricochet when he was supposed to do the thing with us at the Raw reunion.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think he just had staph. It wasn't MRSA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm concerned. Like, this is something that I've seen a bit of lately. And the more guys are going around and traveling from, you know, here and there and, you know, picking this up and maybe even spreading it before you even know you have it. You know, so yeah, it's good they took him out of this. Obviously, it's not ideal, and I think they did the best thing they could have. I mean, as far as replacements go, like, of all people out there, like, I think Pac is, you know, considering the history with him and AEW, recent history, like, makes sense to me.
Yeah, this is going to be a hell of a match.
Glad to see him coming back in the AEW picture.
Like, wrestling business wise, I think actually, like, this match is a pro, because not only can Pac wrestle, you know, the Kenny Omega style, you know, a lot more similar, so they can have a really strong match for the show. But now when Jon Moxley is healthy and can come back, they can build the Jon Moxley Kenny Omega feud even bigger now on TV and make it maybe a lot more hotter than it would have been just put in on All Out.
So I'm wondering if this is going to affect the buy rate at all, and, you know, because I did see, you know, some people complaining, and it wasn't complaining about the replacement, just that there was no, like, it was just an announcement. This is the replacement, but there was no, like, extra build up to try to kind of build another little story. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, totally.
But I don't know. How do you do that in a couple weeks or a week? Was it a week notice?
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe a little bit over a week, because it's still this coming weekend. So, you know, this weekend is a week. So maybe a few give and change, a few extra days.
Yeah. I remember a time not too long ago where it would have just gone out there with MRSA.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But luckily, yeah, like you said, they nipped it in the bud, got him replaced. I think, honestly, both of these are dream matches, so it's kind of a, you know, like you said, an ideal scenario.
So I do get it. You know, like, it would be great if there was a build-up for Pac Kenny, but, I mean, this is, you deal with things.
Exactly.
And, I mean, this are the circumstances you have to deal with, and good for them for actually, you know, reaching out and getting him.
And it's like we said, at least there is some sort of history there with Pac and AEW, so it's not like there's absolutely nothing. It's not like they're going in cold, but it'll be good either way.
All right, and then some more AEW news. They recently sent out a press release that Tony Schiavone has signed a multi-year agreement with AEW, and the cool thing is he's also going to be serving as a senior producer for events, and the other cool thing, which I think, is that he's still able to work his other jobs with the University of Georgia, the Baseball Network, and MLW.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that'll be great.
I like it. It's a familiar face and a familiar voice, you know, along with JR, and I think it matters. I mean,
But I think it's actually kind of the best of both worlds, because it is a familiar voice, but it's one that wrestling fans haven't heard in so long. So there's that kind of nostalgia element, you know.
Yeah, and I like you know, I like the thought of Excalibur being in there with that to kind of just, keep things fresh. Or I
That'd be a hell
don't know
of
if
a
I'm putting it right, but
Yeah.
getting that new blood in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Good for Tony. I'm glad to see Tony back in the picture in the wrestling industry.
And keep him busy with all of those jobs.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
That'll be good.
That's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and move into Raw. So maybe some of the key things that we want to talk about. Let's go ahead and start it off with Sasha Banks' opening promo on Raw, where she basically talks about her 4-month absence. She talks about throwing a fit, crying on the floor, taking her ball home, not caring about her WrestleMania match, and basically saying that the tag team women's belts meant less.
Not less. Like, I must have missed that part.
Yeah, she said that she was in a match for WrestleMania and that she thought the women's tag team belts meant less.
Well, she said she was defending belts that she didn't care about.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder how that plays into, like, creatively. Like, I don't get that part, but
Right.
like everything else, I understand.
Yeah.
It's funny that she would mention that, take your ball and go home thing, and like crying on the ground, because like there was reports of that.
Well, and I think that's what they wanted, is just to like shut everyone up, just to go ahead, address it, and just use it as ammunition, basically.
If it really happened.
Right.
So, I'm not a fan of playing entrance music when you're running out to attack somebody.
Right.
What the fuck? Come on.
Because it gives the element of, though, this was, we were just waiting for it to happen
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of like,
I'm
no,
not gonna
she
kick
snapped.
this bitch's ass, but play my music
my
first.
Right.
But you know what? I will say this. I really do like Sasha's new attitude of this, like, bad girl. And she even went on to say, like, I am the standard for this women's division. And I do kind of like that edginess that she brought to it.
That's the thing.
For sure.
When she was in NXT, and then her and Bayley were putting on legit match of the year candidates, she was doing her best work as a heel. The boss character is a natural heel character. And so I think it's long overdue.
All right. And I know, do you want to talk about the Drew McIntyre Ricochet match?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I thought the right person went over. Actually, you know what? I mean, my choice did, but I think I would like to see either one of those guys as King of the Ring. I think both of them would be good for different reasons.
Right.
I thought they had a really good match. Who's going to win it?
The whole tournament?
Yeah,
That's a good
I'd like
question.
to see Ricochet win it. He's my choice. You guys think anybody else?
I think
Might be
what I
better
was
choice.
thinking might have been Samoa Joe. Maybe to kind of get him some goodwill.
Yep.
I think that he's such a reliable player for them. They keep putting him in these high profile matches, but they put him in situations where he can't win. And so I'm hoping that this is something that can kind of generate him some of that goodwill.
And I feel like Samoa Joe hasn't had that key moment yet.
Exactly.
Where like, okay, now there is some serious focus on this guy. I feel like he's always, you know how they always say, like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride?
Right.
That sort of deal. I feel like that's what we're getting.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Joe.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I would also love to see Andrade go at least go to the finals.
Yeah.
I mean, a finals with Andrade and Ricochet would be out of this world for sure.
Yeah. Oh shit. I just had a thought. People are used to me having thoughts on this show. Yeah.
You want to talk about some other key moments? So Seth has officially accepted Braun's challenge for WWE Clash of Champions. So they're essentially having 2 matches now because they're both tag team champions, and now they're having this match against one another. How do we like this chemistry?
I kind of like it. Yeah, and obviously the people too, because did you see the reaction they got when they won?
Yeah.
The title? That was a
hot.
huge reaction, right? You know, yeah. It's interesting. I'm just waiting to see where it goes because for me, I was happy to see those tag team championships on Anderson and Gallows, and I would have liked to have seen it, stay with those guys for a minute.
Right. It seems like they're kind of being hot-potatoed around a little bit.
But if they have this long-term plan where this makes sense, then I'm all like, I don't want to get too judgmental and go, oh, why'd you take it off those guys and put it on them? They don't need it. Well, if it makes sense in the long term, like sometimes we just step back and just see how things play out before we start just criticizing.
Sure. Well,
this is bullshit. Right?
Well, we can use that as a segue to talk about the tag team turmoil match and kind of we've got new number one contenders in Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they went over clean several other teams in that match, maybe 3 or 4 other teams. So it's interesting that this is a new team, never teamed before, kind of getting hot shotted to this tag title match.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
It feels hot shot. It feels like they were just thrown together. And they're both good, really good.
Yeah.
You know?
And complement each other.
Yeah.
Wow.
The stuff that they were doing in that match was really good with Heavy Machinery and with everyone else that they were working with. So it'll be interesting to see how they work against Braun and Seth, for sure.
All right. Any other thoughts on Raw? Any other moments you guys want to talk about? I would say that those were pretty much some of the biggest highlights in terms of the show. We did have a new Firefly Funhouse segment, which was fun. I like where he was spelling out sociopath. And he's like making it seem like obviously very kid-like, but at the same time he's teaching them a word that maybe kids shouldn't know. But it was hilarious.
Well, and that was really more just a compilation of everything that we had seen before. But I think to that point, I think that's a positive. I think keeping the Fiend off TV unless it's absolutely necessary is the right way to go. You know?
Don't overexpose the Fiend, everyone.
Right.
But I did see some people on Twitter. You know, there's always those people that you don't agree with on Twitter. But I did see people on Twitter that were upset that that they want to see him on every show.
Well, here's what I enjoy. Someone on Reddit had a really good and really interesting point that Bray's found a way to be his own manager at this point. He's playing this monster that never speaks.
He's his own mouthpiece?
Yeah, he's his own mouthpiece. That's so fascinating to me. And he's so good at both in such different ways.
Mm. Yeah, my girlfriend really, and the only reason I bring this up is because she's a writer, very successful one, and so she knows her shit when it comes to this type of stuff. She really enjoyed that segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What was it about it that
she just said that just by watching that, she gets exactly what his character is all about. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
That makes sense. And especially like sometimes like you don't even really know. Like you're like, wait, is this guy a heel? Is it okay, but why? You know, and we've had that argument in the past about other people as well.
Even if you have never seen it before and you just tune in to the one last night, like you kind of figure out what's going on there and what it's about. So
definitely.
All right. Do you want to wrap up Raw and jump into our next segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So our last segment for today, we're going to be talking about your 1995 match at SummerSlam versus Hakushi. Yeah. Hakushi defeated you, the 1-2-3 Kid. Tell us a little bit about this match. And it was August 27, 1995. So we're talking about like 24 years now since it's been that match. Let's refresh a little bit and, sort of talk about your feelings going into this.
Well, I had worked with Hakushi. Matter of fact, as far as anyone in WWF at the time, I was the first one to ever work with him when he was Jinsei Shinzaki. Mm-hmm. When we had this tour of Japan in 1994, and it was kind of like in conjunction with Tenryu's group. I mean, we used their ring and everything like that. And that was actually part of the problem. Like, you go there with the WWF tour, and it just looks like WWF guys on a Japanese show. Because it's a Japanese ring, and, they have a Japanese ring announcer. When you go to Japan with WWE show, the Japanese people, they want to see what they see on TV. Mm-hmm. They want to see Howard Finkel. They want to see the fucking ring with the red, white, and blue ropes, which is what WWE's ring was at the time. All of that, right? So anyways, the tour had a few issues. But I don't know why I had to go into all that. You know me. But what I was getting at is I had a match with Shinzaki, and we kind of killed it, actually. Finish got screwed up, but like everything leading up to it. I mean, the finish wasn't awful, but there was a little botch. But it was enough for people like in the company to go, holy shit, we got something with this guy. And before the tour was over, he was working with Undertaker. and Wally Yamaguchi was coming out with a head like Undertaker's head, like it was, he had his head chopped off, and it was kind of crazy. So all that being said, like I had other matches with him before we had that SummerSlam match, but that was the idea. Like they put us in that match in that spot, and it wasn't the first match on the show, but it was one of the early matches that helped set the pace for the rest of the show. I think the first match on the show was actually Hunter's very first pay-per-view.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think he worked with, I know he worked with Bob Holly. And I'm pretty sure that was the opening match, but but that was a good one too. It's just, but I lost.
Right.
It was really hard for me to pull out,
You talked about the pacing. You talked about like how it set the pace. And one thing I noticed going back and rewatching this is that it was so ahead of its time and so kind of fast paced for that era. It seemed like.
Actually, like we did some things that were fast and like we're athletic and they were sudden. But if you actually watch the pacing of that match, it was actually slow.
Okay.
It just seemed like it because the things we would do were fast.
Yeah.
It's just the pacing was slow. And that's like something that I think was really good about that match is because everyone could digest everything. We would do something, give it time to breathe.
Right, yeah.
Do something again, give it time to breathe. Then go into the heat, all that. And so even though he was a heel and the people were with me, he didn't do a ton of heelish stuff.
He's busting out flying space tiger drops in 1995.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, he hit me with a Bronco Buster before
I was going to ask about that.
I'm pretty sure people know now that's where I got it from because I've said it a billion times for people in the back that haven't been listening.
Was there any sort of a language barrier between you guys working together?
A little bit. Yeah. But, nothing major. It was just the same that, I would have to deal with.
Right.
Like going on Japan tour. And I mean, he actually had he spoke wrestling English.
Right. Wrestling, that's such a fascinating concept to me, using that and using kind of body language, putting together spots that with people that don't necessarily speak your language.
And, we did some cool things that you would never see at the time and things that, I got from, all my travels around the world.
Right.
Actually stole some of it, right from Tiger Mask matches, things like that.
Yeah.
Do you think he came a few years, before? Because considering that he was wrestling this different style that we weren't really seeing that often and maybe weren't really introduced to it in the U.S. until, Luchador started coming to ECW. So do you think he was a few years before his time?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess. It just...
I mean, he was a huge name in Japan, but yeah, it makes me wonder.
He wasn't a huge name, but he was very, he wasn't
respected.
Huge. Yeah, because he wasn't in New Japan or whatever, but in the wrestling industry over there, he was, he was up and coming, and, they knew, the real wrestling fans in Japan knew. Yeah.
One of the things that jumped out at me again, going back and watching this, is how kind of out of nowhere the finish sort of came.
Yeah.
You go for this spinning heel kick and just immediately he turns it into this power bomb.
Kind of a power bomb, like a one-arm power bomb.
Exactly.
Right?
And I love those days where that 1, 2, 3 could come from anything. Was that something you guys had kind of meant to sort of do? Yeah,
that's kind of how I like to do finishes and matches like that.
Because he was using the diving headbutt, he was using the power bomb, but yeah, that was such an interesting way to go into it.
Yeah, but I mean, if I went back and really dissected it, there might have been some things I would have done different, knowing what I know now. But and people appreciated the match. I don't know if you watch the reaction. The
crowd was hot. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just appreciated the quality of the match and and how hard we worked and. Okay, there's a replay. Yeah. So.
But yeah.
Yeah, I got all my shit in, and then he beat me.
At the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Well, I mean, because other was getting ready. Like he had matches with Brad after this. It was
Right.
like they used him for some other things after that. So.
Yeah, definitely. How was it kind of integrating your guys' sort of, did he have a martial arts background before he got into pro wrestling?
I have no idea. Sometimes I imagine, right?
Right.
I imagine he might have. Because, because his technique was pretty good, so.
Yeah. But yeah,
a
really
lot of
good
us,
stuff.
a lot of us have like green belts in Taekwondo or took some karate classes or whatever.
Sure. But yeah, definitely for anyone watching or listening, go back to the network, rewatch that SummerSlam '95. Such good stuff.
Well, and this is also the show where they had the second ladder match between Razor Ramona and the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this has been talked about, but I'll mention it on here. Sean, Scott, all of us, we got together and helped put that match together too, right?
Okay.
Like we got together, we watched tapes of the first one, and then also there were some restrictions placed on that match. Like you weren't allowed to use the ladder as a weapon.
Oh, wow.
Even though they still managed to fit it in there somehow.
Right.
But things like that. So there was, a lot of people had no idea they went into that match with handcuffs on. Mm-hmm. And it's the match. I mean, it got really good reviews. It was an excellent match. And some people even liked it better than the first one.
Yeah, I had always liked it more growing up. Maybe, yeah. But do you think those restrictions were imposed because they thought maybe the WrestleMania 10 match was too dangerous?
No. There was just the climate at the time for us, as far as on TV, and like everyone, like all eyes on us, like too violent, this and that. There was just a lot of WWE was under a lot of scrutiny at the time for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. That was it. Oh God, I can't remember what the other things like that we weren't allowed to do at that point. And some of them made sense and some didn't.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. But also on that show, I think that was it Brett versus Isaac Yankem?
SummerSlam '95.
So.
I think.
Yeah, and King Mabel versus Diesel.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and the big thing with that match was Mabel wanting to drop he did this thing where he dropped his ass on people.
And just complete dead weight.
Yeah. And Kevin specifically told him, absolutely under no fucking circumstances do that to me.
Right.
And he fucking did it anyhow, and he almost killed Kev. Almost just fucking crippled him.
Right.
And they were going to fire him, and Kev was like, no, don't fire him.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, I'd be honest with you. Like when you do something like that, and I love Mabe, I loved this, but that was fucking bullshit. It was selfish, and it really hurt Kev. I mean, it fucked him up, and so that is something that you should get fired for.
Sure,
honestly.
Yeah, when you're that big with that sort of dead weight kind of sheer drop.
Oh my God! I mean, fucked him up. I don't understand how he thought that. That would be. I mean, he's 500 fucking pounds.
Right.
So, yeah.
So yeah, point being, a lot of good stuff to go back and watch on SummerSlam '95.
And I really love that the venue. It's not there anymore. The Civic Arena in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Like there's another building in its place. Well, it's actually in the parking lot. But the cool thing about that venue was the roof opened up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so at one time we ran a show there, and the big selling point was in the summertime, and after the show they opened they had the roof open the whole time, I think, and after the show they had fireworks.
Oh, cool!
It was kind of cool, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How does it feel like going back and watching some of your old matches, and knowing how much time has gone by?
Wow. Just think, because I think about that now. When I go back and watch old stuff, because, I was doing that 10 years ago, watching old stuff, but it was only a few years years old at the time.
Yeah.
Right now it's ooh, wow, and the older I get, like the faster time seems to go.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I had read somewhere that kind of scientifically, because as you get older, a year represents less and less of your life.
I was trying to figure out how to say that.
Yeah.
My brain is scrambled
So
today.
it makes sense for sure. It just keeps going faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
There's other things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But I just can't because I don't want to jinx them. But I have some really cool things going on. And even if they don't end up happening, it's still like cool as shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Just put that positive energy out there.
Yeah. I'm even up for some of this stuff. Yeah. So
there we go.
All right. Anything else we want? You guys got anything else?
How's everything in your area with the Eagle Rock fire? I
Oh,
saw
you know
your
about
tweet.
that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I saw your tweet and all of that.
I think they
saw
have it under control. Like on the way here, I could see all the hillside burnt and everything. That was
Yeah.
it was
but is
literally
the
right down the street.
Are the flames still happening, or
No.
has that been contained
No,
already?
there might still be some because I smelt something on the way.
So I know people were
something
evacuating.
like fire, like like what was that smell? I'm trying to figure out what I thought that smell was. Anyways, it was weird, but yeah, that's still going on.
Yeah.
People are like, who gives a fuck right
It's
now?
a
But luckily,
though.
no one had to be evacuated.
No,
or
I
anything,
saw
I
that
don't
they
think.
did though.
Oh,
that
did
some
they?
people
Yeah, they
were
did.
being
Okay,
evacuated.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's scary. It's super scary.
And then so I just stood outside and like from the there's a deck at the house and like you can look down and see like Figueroa Street and Colorado Boulevard. Like when they shut the, oh my God, this story's got like who gives a fuck about this story? Oh my God, I was just gonna say I'm just sitting and watching traffic honking at each other and arguing and getting in fights over.
Right. But luckily, you guys are all good.
Just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Bless everyone's heart for tuning in today. I love all y'all. Oh, shit.
Is that it, Denise?
Yeah, that's it. You want to wrap it up? Let's go ahead and give some handles and all of that. So, guys, do not forget youtube.com/X-Pac. Make sure to check out the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, X-Pac12360 and X-Pac12360 show for clips and so much more. And you guys can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo.
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ty Matthews PMA.
At The Real X-Pac on Twitter. At Real X-Pac on Instagram. There's other. Did you already say the other ones?
Yeah, the show ones, yeah.
Yeah, all right. We'll see you right here next week from AfterBuzz TV Studios in North Hollywood, California.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Sean Waltman, and the entire X-Pac 12360 staff, thank you for tuning in to X-Pac 12360.